Westerly Lakes is a small fishery in the village of Wheldrake, around 7 miles from York. It is a small lake that is packed full of different species of fish. However, most of the anglers that fish it only seem to be interested in the carp. Personally, I think they are missing a trick, because I have pulled out some decent sized bream, roach and perch too. I have also caught some decent carp as well, with the best being a grass carp tipping the scales at just under £15 a couple of years back. The largest carp caught from Westerly Lakes is £21, and this came out in April 2017. I appreciate this isn't huge compared to the lumps in some fisheries, but given Westerly Lakes is a small, family-run fishery, I don't think £21 is too shabby at all. Westerly Lakes clearly doesn't have the budget or the space available to rear monster carp like the huge commercial fisheries do. At Westerly Lakes, there is the chance of catching a big carp, but not a monster carp. Personally, I don't think this is such a bad thing. Where there are monster carp, there are often cliques of anglers who are horrible people and will do whatever it takes to stop other carp anglers from catching their fish. I was part of a syndicate many years ago where the clique basically ruled the water, and it was not nice. Westerly Lakes is a friendly fishery, and that's how it should be. With regards to the largest bream, largest roach, largest perch, etc., there doesn't seem to be any records of these, so I have no idea how big these species run to. I don't think Westerly Lake holds any record-breaking fish, but at the end of the day, does it really matter? As long as there are fish to be caught in a friendly and comfortable environment, that's all that matters. All fisheries have that bum swim, right? You know, the featureless spot with no bankside vegetation, open water in front of it, and nothing to fish to. Westerly Lakes is the only fishery I can think of that doesn't have such a bum swim. Okay, not every swim may be full of underwater features, but every swim has bankside vegetation and fish holding margins where you can put a bait. There are a couple of islands on the lake, and whilst you can't fish off them, you can fish to them and place a bait as close to the overhanging willow trees as you dare. Not all swims have access to the islands, however most of them do. Casting to the island requires a greater chuck from some swims than others, which is to be expected, but the island is easily reachable from the furthest swim without too much of a cast. For the swims that don't have access to the islands, there is a small spit providing an opposite bank and margin to fish to. In addition to this, there are also lots of overhanging trees and foliage to fish to as well. Westerly Lakes is a very well thought out and planned fishery that gives some kind of feature to fish to for all anglers, regardless of what swim they are in. Consequently, it really doesn't matter what swim you end up in. When the fish are on it and in a feeding mood, all swims will produce. Westerly Lakes is part of a campsite, and with regards to the fishing, the owners cater for both residents staying on the campsite as well as the day anglers. There is a bank solely dedicated to the campsite residents, which is off limits to the day anglers, and all of the day anglers respect this rule. I've never seen any altercation or friction between day anglers and campsite residents, which is good. I've been to plenty of campsites with their own fishing lakes, where there are constant squabbles, ill-feeling and resentment between campsite residents and day anglers, with each party claiming that they have more rights than the other. These sorts of fishery are not nice places to fish, regardless of how good the fishing is, so the fact that day anglers and the campsite residents fish in harmony at Westerly Lakes is a tick in the box, and the owners deserve a lot of credit for micromanaging two separate groups so well. I am not local to Westerly Lakes and only get to visit a few times a year, so I don't know whether the majority of fish are caught in the bankside margins, out in the open water, tight to the islands or right at your feet. Whenever I fish Westerly Lakes, I have one rod with a bait in the margins just to my left, and another rod with a bait either tight to the spit or in the open water. I seldom fish to the island because my preferred swim is in front of my favourite camping pitch, and I like to fish in front of my unit. All of the times I've fished Westerly Lakes I've caught from the margins, open water, and also tight to the spit. The area I catch the most fish from varies from session to session, but overall I have found they all fish the same and there is no clear winner. Many fisheries have some ridiculous rules, but Westerly Lakes isn't one of them. This fishery has sensible rules designed to protect the welfare of the fish, which is key. The rules state: landing nets must be used, fish must be wet handled, no keep nets, barbless hooks only, no fixed rigs or braided hook links, 1 kilo of boilos per angler per day, no bloodworm or joker, ground bait in pole cups or feeders only, cat food on hooks only, surplus bait to be put in the bins provided. One rule that isn't on the list is the use of lures for the perch is not allowed. Personally, I found this a bit of a shame because the lake contains some very good perch and catching them on light lure gear would be great fun. Oh well. The rules are expected and no responsible angler should have any problems with them. Personally, I think there are a few more rules that should be added, such as unhooking mats are compulsory, but that's just me. I have only ever fished Westerly Lakes during the summer months, however, this time our trip was in late October. Westerly Lakes is a pretty fish in the summer months, but in the autumn months it is absolutely stunning, with all the oranges, browns and golds really coming through. The leaves are littering the surface of the water, which doesn't make the water look its best, but then this is the same of all lakes, rivers and streams at this time of year. Even during the autumn months, Westerly Lake still produces fish. On this quick tour around the lake, which took around 10 minutes, I witnessed 3 fish banked. While standing on the spit, the chap directly opposite was playing what I can only guess was a half-decent fish. His rod was doubled over, the fish was clearly putting up a struggle, and he was taking his time getting it to the net. The second fish I saw caught was as I approached a fellow angler. The bite was big and bold, and when I saw a small carp surface, I was stunned it wasn't bigger. The small common carp that graced his net was only a few pounds in weight, but a fish is a fish, right? Besides, it was a pretty little common carp that would make any angler pleased to catch. The last fish I saw being caught was by the same chap I saw catch the first fish. Within a few minutes of returning his catch, he was in again. The fish I actually managed to get a look at, and it was a nice low double-figure common that put up a good scrap. One thing I have noticed about the fish at Westerly Lakes is they fight very well and go off like a steam train. The fish at Westerly put a good bend in the rod and, more importantly, a huge smile on your face. If you want to catch a record fish, you will be wasting your time at Westerly Lakes. If you want to catch a monster carp, again, you will be wasting your time at Westerly Lakes. If, however, you want to catch large fish that fight well, bend your rod and put a huge smile on your face, Westerly Lakes may be the fishery for you.